So to be clear, we are now moving from the Greg Bovino wild, wild west, where ICE causes car crashes in the middle of the streets of Chicago, Minneapolis, Charlotte, and elsewhere. They gas immigrants and citizens and children, as we have covered. They're now basically shifting this terrorism from the streets into the airport. Literally, most of what ICE was doing was standing around, excuse my French, with their dick in their hands. Let me show you. You can help build the only independent news outlet, always on the ground with the people, for as low as 16 cents a day.
Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people.
Flint, Michigan, Washington,
Brooklyn, New
D.C.
York.
Government sending one more you to the residents of Chicago.
We need as many independent voices as possible, and that's why what you guys do is so important.
Covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. When President Trump isn't busy illegally bombing Iran, he has been sending his mass secret police to airports across America, supposedly to assist with the nightmare security lines causing all sorts of chaos at airports. Well, guess what? That's a giant bait and switch. They're not there to assist with chaos at the airports, flight cancellations, people missing their flights. They're there to round up more immigrants and probably soon to be U.S. citizens. First, if you didn't see this alarming video from Sunday, this was at the San Francisco airport where two ICE agents, essentially dressed in street hoodies, no visible identification, basically assaulted a woman as her young daughter sobbed in the background.
We need to see your badge number.
Then show us the
Show
badge.
your badge number.
Show us the badge.
This is an illegal arrest. Show the badge number.
It's okay. We'll wait.
I need to see your badge
Step
number.
back. Step back.
I don't know who you are. You could be someone kidnapping her.
Okay, we should call the police.
Call the police. Call the police.
So that, we're now learning, was because TSA agents, who are not getting paid right now, are tipping off ICE agents to go detain immigrants at the airport. This is what's happening in America. Let me read from the New York Times. TSA tipped off ICE agents before arrests at San Francisco airport. TSA officials told ICE that a mother and daughter under a detention order had planned to fly domestically, federal documents show. The woman and her 9-year-old daughter were walking through Terminal 3 at San Francisco's airport Sunday night, heading to their gate to fly to Miami to visit a relative when a stranger in plainclothes approached. Angelina? He asked. Si, she responded. Minutes later, Angelina Lopez Jimenez was on her knees crying as two immigration agents were handcuffing her in front of her daughter, according to video footage that went viral. Government documents obtained by the New York Times explain the events leading up to the tense scene, including the exchange between the agent and Ms. Lopez Jimenez. The documents shed new light on how TSA is sharing with ICE officials the names and birth dates of travelers believed to have been ordered out of the country by a judge. That has made it easier for the Trump administration to detain and deport undocumented immigrants as they pass through airports. So to be clear, we are now moving from the Greg Bovino wild, wild west, where ICE causes car crashes in the middle of the streets of Chicago, Minneapolis, Charlotte, and elsewhere. They gas immigrants and citizens and children, as we have covered. By the way, if you're new here, we have been on the ground in Minneapolis for over 2 months. We were on the ground in Chicago for over 2 months. There is no outlet, mainstream or independent, that has covered this ICE terrorism more than Status Coup. So thank you for those who are supporting us, because we do not take corporate funding. We are supported by you. And if you are not supporting us yet, please consider for as low as $5 a month. They're now basically shifting this terrorism from the streets into the airport. I guess hoping it won't be captured on camera, but obviously it is being captured on camera. Now, we could get into TSA tipping off ICE in a bit, but clearly this is not about ICE assisting with security lines or long security lines, because as our John Farina covered at the JFK airport in New York the other day, literally most of what ICE was doing was standing around, excuse my French, with their dick in their hands. Let me show you. estimates are it would cost between $25 billion and $30 billion to end U.S. homelessness. These folks got $75 billion from Trump's big, beautiful bank robbery bill that also cut Medicaid, food programs, programs for the youth, and all sorts of things that actually help working and vulnerable people. These people are being paid to stand around at airports and even in that very alarming image, hold babies. I don't know about that parent handing your baby to an ICE agent, but this is what's going on. We're paying these folks to basically stand around while in other cases round up immigrants, while TSA workers are not being paid. By the way, the TSA workers who are tipping off ICE, my assumption they're doing it because they're being ordered to share their information with ICE of the passengers who obviously TSA have names, birth dates, and other identifying information. My assumption is TSA agents don't wake up in the morning saying, how do I help ICE round up immigrants? And by the way, just like we saw in Minneapolis, just like we saw in Chicago, just like we've seen in LA, Alligator Alcatraz, this does not only stop at immigrants, whether intentionally or accidentally. The longer this goes on, they're obviously going to be detaining U.S. citizens, those who don't look like your white Christian nationalists, those who don't look or have a funny accent. So we're going to see more videos like this because it seems the actual intent of this is more kidnappings, more kidnappings. Let me read you a little bit more from this New York Times story. Ms. Lopez Jimenez, 41, a native of Guatemala, and her daughter, Wendy Godinez Lopez, were flagged by TSA officials on Friday when they showed up on a passenger list for a Sunday flight from San Francisco on Miami. The agency then tipped off ICE, according to the documents. Ms. Lopez Jimenez and her daughter were living in Contra Costa County, California, on the eastern edge of the San Francisco Bay Area, according to the congressman for that region, John Garamendi. She had no criminal history, though she entered the country illegally. Democratic officials recoiled this week at the detention. Mr. Garamendi, a Democrat, said that it was the latest example of how the Trump administration was rounding up mothers and children instead of focusing its immigration enforcement on dangerous criminals. So the MAGAverse will say, oh, well, she had a deportation order. The article later states that she missed court hearings here and there. So we're going to allot our ICE agents and I guess TSA agents serving as accomplices to round up people for misdemeanors while we completely ignored the historic criminal spree of corruption coming from this White House, including, as reporter JT Siskowski for us just reported, you got to check out this video we published last night. Essentially, one of the top regulators from the Securities and Exchange Commission just quit because she was being stopped from investigating Trump family corruption. You want to talk about crimes? The Trump family and their crimes, and the Republicans and Democrats committing legal insider trading to enrich themselves, including, by the way, those mysteriously timed trades that just happened, making unnamed stock traders, God knows, we're talking potentially $1 billion off of trades they made just like 10 minutes before Trump announced negotiations and a calming of tensions with Iran. That's literally insider trading. They don't care. MAGA doesn't care about that, apparently. MAGA doesn't care about the Wall Street banks that tanked the global economy 15 years ago, never brought to justice. The fossil fuel executives who have poisoned our water, air, soil, animals, don't care, never brought to justice. The Sackler family, who has poisoned, killed nearly 1 million people with OxyContin, got off with a settlement. I mean, we could keep going down the list. The crimes of big tech CEOs, the crimes of Elon Musk, who it's now coming out that him and his Doge bros literally stole your Social Security data. If I did that, I'd be put away for life. But we care about a Guatemalan immigrant who has lived here, paid taxes, not committed any crimes for years, and we have to terrorize her in front of her 9-year-old daughter while she sobs. Priorities. We will continue to stay on this. We want to continue to cover this ICE terrorism. And by the way, we are currently planning a trip called The War Against Us. Now, as we continue our illegal war in Iran, we want to focus on the war against working people. So JT, our reporter, John Farina, our cameraman, are putting together a reporting trip through the Midwest right now to interview folks struggling with the gas prices, grocery, healthcare, housing, childcare, electric bills, utilities. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. People having to decide between medicine or groceries, people one paycheck away from being evicted, and so many other stories. So if you live in the Midwest and have a story, email us, info@statuscoup.com. And remember, this reporting is independently funded by you. So please, please, we don't have any corporate sponsors, and going on the ground between gas, hotels, food costs a lot of money. So please, if you can, support us. That's statuscoup.com/join. And if you're already a paying member, you could support us with a donation. That's statuscoup.com/donate.